Yo, what's up guys? So I just got a killer deal yesterday on 4 outboard motors from an estate sale. I have no idea the condition on these. I haven't even popped the cowling to see how they look. But for this video, I wanted to do a challenge kind of just for myself to see how quickly I can get these outboard motors up and running. So yeah, without further ado, let's check these things out. So I haven't even looked at the serial numbers, but I have worked on all these motors in the past. These are all well-built motors in my opinion, so I think we should be able to get these all up and running. So yeah, just from right to left. This first one, just on the decals, should be a late 80s, early 90s. Nissan, 5 horsepower, 2-stroke. These are single cylinder. These are really good motors. I like these motors. Yeah, I've worked on these a ton. These are Honda, 8 horsepower, 4-stroke. Based on the decals, it should be like mid to late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And then, yeah, we got mid 90s Mercury 25, 2-stroke. It's a short shaft tiller. These are good motors as well. And then lastly, this is like mid to late 2000s based on the decals. Mercury 5 horsepower, 4-stroke, long shaft. All right, so for this challenge, it's already late Monday morning, so I'm getting kind of a late start on this challenge. And the goal is to get all these motors up and running by Sunday. And so again, I have pretty little information on all these. So I have no idea the condition on this one, when it ran last or anything. Same thing with this Honda, I have no idea. So the owners did tell me that this one may or may not have spark. That's why it was sitting. And then this Mercury here, they said it ran maybe a year ago. But as far as all these motors go, that's all I know on these. So let's start popping the cowling and see what we're working with. So I think the limiting factor on this challenge is going to be parts availability and getting parts for these motors. So since we know this one may or may not have spark, I'm going to start with this one and we're going to confirm if it's got spark. Oh yeah, here's this Merc 25 under the cowling. I mean, she looks complete. I did notice too, you guys may not be able to see, there is a little bit of turquoise stuff on these connections on the coils. So maybe it has spark, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, I'm going to start out by pulling these plugs. I'm gonna squirt a little bit of lubricant in it, pull the flywheel over, get some oil on those pistons and cylinder walls. Yeah, I'll do a compression test and see if she's got spark. Oh yeah, here's the plugs in her. I mean, that top one's brand new. This was the bottom one. That's basically brand new. So someone was definitely working on this motor and couldn't get it running. But yeah, let's see what the compression is. Right, top cylinder. 120, that's pretty good. So let's see what we got on the bottom. Awesome, also 120. All right, let's check spark. I hear it. Yeah, she's got spark. Yeah, bottom's got spark too. Huh. Well yeah, that Merc 25's got spark. It's got compression, so yeah, I may not need to buy parts for it. So I want to start the first day off by getting at least one motor running. So I think this one, this Nissan 5 is the simplest motor. It's just a single cylinder, 2-stroke, so I think I have the best chance at getting this one running. So I think I'm just gonna work smallest to biggest. So this Nissan first, then this other Merc second, Honda third, and Mercury fourth. So yeah, let's dive into this Nissan. But yeah, here's this Nissan under the hood. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing it. This thing's actually super clean. This looks like mostly freshwater use, or maybe only freshwater use. Yeah, I've worked on these a ton. So yeah, these Nissans were made by Tohatsu. So Tohatsu made these for Nissan, Mercury, and even Mariner in the late 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Even like Henkai copies this design because it's just such a good, simple design. It has like a super oversized carburetor with the fuel pump down on the side too. These things actually put out a lot of power. They'll push a little, aluminum boat, inflatable boat pretty well. So I really like these motors. So yeah, right off the back, I removed the spark plug. I mean, you can see this plug is a NGK BP6HS. And if you look down here, y'all can see that. It asks for NGK BP7HSS-10. I mean, it's not the biggest crime in the world to use the wrong plug, but I should have like a lightly used one of these plugs lying around. So let me go check my parts bin. Yeah, I actually had a brand new one lying around. So yeah, we're gonna use this guy. And even with the old spark plugs I have, I'll just throw them all in my ultrasonic cleaner and clean them good. So then they're just lightly used and can be reused again. But yeah, let's see what compression we're working with. For all these motors, I don't know how long they've been really sitting, so I always like to just shoot some PB Blaster in them and then just, lightly pull the flywheel over just to get that coating on those rings, pistons, cylinder walls, all that good stuff, just so it's not firing up dry and turning over dry. Nice, that's like about 130. That's plenty good for these motors. So we're in business. Should hopefully see some spark now. Yep, there we go. I can hear it, see it. So yeah, I was gonna fire this Nissan up and then I noticed that this fuel selector, this white tip right here, is broken off. So So that's going to be a problem actually, because that fuel selector, I mean, here's the female end, it makes contact in there once these slide together, and that allows fuel to flow when they make contact. So with that being broken off, it's not going to allow fuel to flow, probably going to leak. So I was going through my parts bin and I had a brand new one. Like I said, I worked on these a lot, so I got a lot of parts for these. So yeah, I need to swap this out, put on this new one, see what she does. Hey, she fired up. The idle's a little bit low, so if I turn it down, the idle could be increased slightly. Like right there would be like the optimal idle screw setting. Oh, it's peeing now. Just took a second. That's actually a pretty damn good stream. Huh. So this little flathead right here is the idle screw. Probably just needs about like half or a quarter turn. About half right there, so now that's the lowest position, so that sounds pretty good right there. That's actually peeing really good water. Like I said, these motors are literally like indestructible. These are really well built motors. Yeah, and that stop button works too. Fires right back up. Forward works. Neutral. Reverse works. Oh yeah, works good. Looks really good actually. Yeah, it's blue. Yeah, fluid looks good. Well yeah, I started this challenge about like 10 a.m. Monday morning, and right now it's about like 12:20 p.m. So it's only been about like 2 hours. So I mean, I think it's safe to say this Nissan's running pretty good. You know, I don't have a boat at the moment to test all these motors, so we're just gonna get them running on the driveway and looking to get a new boat. So maybe we'll test this in another video. But like you saw, pretty minimal maintenance on these. These are pretty easy to work on. You know, that anode looks pretty good too. The prop, no nicks in it, just a little paint chips. But yeah, I mean, pretty minimal maintenance on this. Really just new spark plug. Didn't even touch the carb, which is awesome. New fuel selector, pretty cheap, easy parts. So yeah, let's start moving on down the list of these motors and let's start working on this Mercury 5 horsepower. Oh yeah, this thing looks pretty clean too, which is awesome. I looked at the serial number. It's a 2006 on this guy. Same thing with the last one, single carburetor, which is awesome. They sell aftermarket ones of these that actually work pretty decent on Amazon for like 25 bucks or something. I've used those before. This looks like the original one. Yeah, single cylinder. They're really lightweight, these motors, which are awesome. Yeah, let's see if she's got any oil in it. But yeah, this thing looks like it's barely been used. Probably freshwater use only. Yeah, looks like there's oil in there too, which is cool. So yeah, go through the usual, do a compression test for spark, and then go from there. Okay, perfect. 90. So that's what we want. These don't have, you know, like 100 plus compression, so 80 or 90 is pretty good on these. Thought I heard it. Let me see, get a better view. Yeah. All right, so this motor, what I've been told is it was running a year ago, but there's a pretty good chance they didn't run the fuel dry out of it. So sometimes what I'll do is, instead of just taking the carb off right away, is I'll take the carb drain screw out right here. And I got the fuel line hooked up to it. I'm just gonna pump fuel, and then I have a rag under that, and we'll just shoot any bad stuff in the carb. There you can see it coming out. So if there's any old fuel or any dirt, sometimes that's enough just to pump it out. Yeah, I mean, here's a look at that oil again. I mean, that thing looks brand new. I mean, here's the color of that oil. It's not even dirty. That spark plug looked like super good too. So I mean, she got spark, got compression. All she needs is fuel. So let's go fire up, put some fresh fuel in her, see what she does. Give it a little throttle, choke. Push the choke in, give it a little throttle. it seems like that lowest idle too. Oh, well, that's a pretty good idle. I think she just needed to warm up a little bit. Yeah, super quiet motor, single cylinder. Let's just test these gears. Forward works. Neutral. Got reverse working. Stop button. Yeah, it works. She's a little dirty. Let's just hose her off. Yeah, I mean, this is a decent stream, but it could be better. And I don't know the last time this impeller was changed. You know, I think that Nissan 5 had a better stream than this one. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a impeller for this guy and change it. So I just looked on Amazon, and I have Amazon Prime, so it's gonna arrive tomorrow. But you know, I think it's running pretty damn good though, without a carb clean. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna check this gear oil. I mean, that motor oil looked like brand new. No dirt in it, like straight yellow. I mean, if this gear oil looks brand new, I think I'm just gonna leave it. You know, so maybe it got serviced in the last like year. They did say this was the best running motor of the bunch. So I'm just gonna get a little bit on my finger and see. Okay, yeah. It's like super clear. No water coming out, not milky. I might need to go buy a lotto ticket, because this never happens where, you know, two motors really just fire up without a carb clean and pretty minimal work. You know, I am going to change the impeller on this guy. I just ordered it, so there's still a little bit more work to be done to this, but I mean, it's paying decent water. I would go take it out on the water and it'd be fine, but just for peace of mind, and I'm going to change the impeller. So yeah, I mean, we'll start working on this guy. Probably won't be as easy of a job as those last two. I mean, this one, ton of like leaves and cobwebs and stuff. So yeah, let's actually see. I haven't even looked under the cowling yet for this Honda. Okay, yeah, it looks like some Black Widows living in here and stuff, but yeah, overall, minus all the Black Widows, I'm not really seeing like any rust. This was probably a freshwater use motor as well. Yeah, just for reference, it's only 1 p.m. on Monday, so yeah, I already got 2 running, so off to a great start. So let's dive into this guy. Yeah, you guys know the drill, spark and compression. I noticed these plugs were only hand tight, so let's see what the damage is. Okay, yeah, they don't look bad at all. Yeah, that color of that oil, that looks actually really good. So put a compression gauge, see what we're working with. Oh shit, that's not good. Flywheel is not engaging. There it goes. There we go. Now it's engaging. Huh. That was weird. A 135 on the top. It's pretty good. See the bottom. Same thing, about 130, 135. You can see spark on this top cylinder. Actually, I'm a retard and I forgot to put the kill switch on, so let me do that. Yep, I hear it. Okay, bottom. Yeah, I hear it. I see it. Cool. We got spark. So yeah, with these motors right here, there's a little flathead piece that there's a filter in this fuel pump that's behind here. So let's check it, see if it's dirty. Pretty clean right there. So yeah, for this carb here, these are notorious for getting clogged pretty easily and being really sensitive to good fuel, these older Hondas. But yeah, there's a drain screw there. So yeah, I'm gonna hook up fuel connector and pump fuel. And when I first started working on these, I didn't realize that a Johnson fuel connector actually fits these older style Honda ones. The newer style have like a rectangular, you know, fitting. But yeah, this is just your generic Johnson fuel connector here. And yeah, these actually fit these older Hondas. So pump some fuel, see if there's any crap that comes out, and maybe we'll get away without a carb clean again, who knows. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, shoot a little starter fluid up the airbox. yeah, this is how the motors I usually buy start out. Let's take off this carb. This one has two 8mm long bolts holding it down. If you put it forward, give it a little throttle, it's easier to get this back bolt. All right, I got this carb off. It's probably been sitting a while. I mean, you can see part of the fuel line just was so brittle it just broke off, so there's a little bit of that. I took the two Phillips screws holding the bowl on. So let's see. Oh, it's really actually not terrible. I mean, the outside of the carb looked kind of dirty, so I'd imagined the inside was pretty bad. You always want to inspect that needle that it's moving with that float, which it is. So yeah, we'll clean this jet in here, the main nozzle behind that. You know, there's also pilot jet here, and then this air mixture screw, we'll turn it in all the way, see how many turns out it was. Should be around 1.5. Clean it, put it back. I'm gonna pull this jet out, inspect it, and then there's that main nozzle in there. You want to be able to see through that, which we kind of can. Now we can. If you actually open up the car or put a flathead in there, you can pop that main nozzle out, and a lot of times like these smaller passages can get clogged, so clear all that out. Just make sure that that point isn't like bent or damaged, so that needle looks okay. Just gonna shoot some in there. Make sure that hole where that needle rests doesn't have any dirt built up, which looks clear to me. And we'll clean out this pilot jet in here. Yeah, this is the step most people forget, this air mixture screw. So inspected this air mixture needle, looks fine. Don't lose the spring either. So this one was at about 2 3/4. Now usually 1.5 is a good starting point. A lot of people mess with these. Actually, I want to put it at 1.5 just for starting. All right, after that carb clean, see what she does. Tried adjusting this air mixture screw a bit. There we go. It was at like 2 3/4 before. It's not peeing any water though. Too much. Yeah, that's off. It wasn't peeing water, but I pulled the line off here and it's a water shot out, so clearly there's a blockage in here. You know, when these motors have been sitting for even just a little bit of time, these bugs love to make nests in there. So let's clear this out and see if it pees water. Yeah, if you can see on the end, that's where it's supposed to pee out too. It's clogged on that side. All that stuff in there coming out. Yeah, look at all that. Alright, I increased that idle a little bit. So this air mixture set at 2 turns out. It's not idling perfect. Let's see if we go back. It's about 1 3/4 there. I'm turning it in. So that's like 1.5. That's what like the usual good starting point is. So about like 2, 1 3/4 or so. Let's see. See, I didn't really like that. Let's go back down a little bit. To like that 1.5 right there. This Okay, reverse works. Neutral. Forward. Alright, here's what she sounds like with the cowling on. So currently I have that idle screw, I think maybe slightly high, but I think it's okay. But that air mixture screw right here is roughly about 1.5 to 1 2/3 out. It seems to be the sweet spot, I think. I mean, every carburetor is a little bit different. It's not always going to be the same on every carb. So, but I think that setting seems to be the sweet spot for this motor. Yeah, I'm checking this gear lube on this Honda and see what we got. See the fluid, it's like super blue, not even dark or milky at all. So again, I'm just of the mindset, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm just gonna leave this. Yeah, you know, I just checked this oil. I mean, that color looks great. It was filled pretty much all the way to the top. So yeah, I mean, whoever had these motors took care of them for the most part, or at least had them serviced or something. Yeah, so it's about 5 p.m. Monday still, and great start to this challenge. Already getting 3 of these motors up and running. So I try to be a somewhat decent neighbor and mostly fire up these motors between like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So since it's already about like 5 p.m., I'm done for the day, and I got some other stuff I got to do too. So yeah, I'll start working on this Merc 25 tomorrow, see what's wrong with it. And I should hopefully have an impeller coming for this Merc 5, so hopefully should be able to change that tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see what tomorrow holds. All right, it's Tuesday morning of this challenge. A little tired. World Series game was going until 18 innings last night, so that was a fun game. But yeah, anyways, we're gonna start working on this Merc 25. Yeah, so yesterday had spark, had good compression, so that really just leaves fuel. So yeah, let's see what we got on the carb here. You know, it looks pretty good. I mean, not a whole lot of rust or anything. You know, with the luck I've been having, I think I might not touch the carb yet and just try firing it up. You know, I am going to take off this fuel filter bowl here, clean that out, and yeah, we'll just throw some fresh fuel and see what happens. Here's that bowl off. It's actually full of fuel, which means, yeah, someone must have ran it somewhat recently, but it smells kind of old, so yeah, we're going to dispose of this fuel. Yeah, what I don't like about these Mercuries with the shifting in the tiller handle is normally you could just like give it a little bit of gas from the throttle, from the tiller handle, but you can't with these. Once you give it like a little bit, it just switches into forward gear right there. So yeah, I'm gonna give a little bit of starting fluid, see if that helps jump start it, and see what happens. Good somewhere. You're gonna need a carb clean. All right, I got this carb off, and I haven't seen this before, but the insert was like fused to the nut, so it came off with it. So I'll just have to, yeah, get this nut off, maybe just throw some like red thread locker or something on this end. But anyways, yeah, let's clean this carb and see the damage. All right, yeah, I got this bowl off, just a 13 mil nut, but yeah, there's a jet here underneath. I forgot that there was a jet here. So yeah, let's give this a clean down. And notice that this plunger here is like super stuck. All right, so underneath this plunger piece is this little ball, and then the cap that goes with it has a spring. So I'm just gonna cover it so I don't lose that ball. So basically that ball wasn't like aligned perfectly with that spring. So now this plunger is working. So yeah, you just have to make sure that this spring is perfectly lined up with that ball. It was probably just kind of seized up from over time. So yeah, it's still working now. All right, I just turned this air mixture needle in. It was 1 3/4. So I'm gonna pull it out, clean it, put it back at 1 3/4. Yeah, so under this plate here too, That's where your air mixture needle goes. There's some passages down in here too. We'll just clean to where the air mixture needle sits and yeah, clear out these passages. You probably can't see, but I reached in there, gave it like a quarter turn to the left. Let's see what that does. Yeah, if you look right here, notice she wasn't peeing water. Yeah, sure enough, she's clogged up. Let's see how deep that was. There we go. Now she's running pretty good. I think I finally got this dialed in. I actually gave it one full turn out to increase the idle just very slightly. Again, yeah, you can also increase the idle here. But yeah, you don't want to mess with these linkages too much because you don't want to mess with the timing. But yeah, just one full turn out, increase the idle just a little bit, enough where I think it's now the perfect idle. Let's check this gear oil out. Yeah, just super black, but not milky, which is awesome. I wanted to see how this motor was running under load, so we got it in a bucket now. So yeah, it's just being good water, so that impeller is doing what it's supposed to. Yeah, it's on the lowest idle right now. Get into gear. Start back up. Yeah, so it's still Tuesday, it's about 1 o'clock, and yeah, I mean, been running this thing for like maybe 30 minutes, close to an hour, just testing it under load, making sure the idle's right, all that kind of stuff. That air mixer screw is about like 1.5 to 1 2/3 turned out, but it seems to be a good spot for the idle. You know, I've owned a few of these over the years. I mean, these things pee a pretty heavy stream. So, I mean, this is a pretty normal stream for this motor, so I think the impeller on this thing's still good. Just cleaned it up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to do with this motor. It seems like it's running pretty good. Yeah, here's this Honda, mostly all cleaned up. Yeah, I think someone like spray painted and like got a bunch of overspray just on this one side. So with the Brillo pad, it seemed to get most of it off. Yeah, a few little chips, you know, on the cowling and stuff, but nothing you can do there. But yeah, I mean, this thing was covered in like leaves and spiders. But yeah, I used some degreaser, cleaned her all up. But yeah, I think she's turning out pretty nice. Yeah, I'm just gonna fire up this Honda one more time. Just got it in a bigger bucket just so I can kind of really rev it and test it fully under load, so let's see how she runs. Yeah, pee in good water. It's like a little after 5 o'clock Tuesday. You know, I only worked really a few hours today, to be honest, on these motors. I have ADD pretty sure, so got sidetracked with other projects and other stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, we got all 4 motors running now. Still waiting on an impeller for this guy. Should arrive later today. But yeah, just gonna, you know, detail these motors, clean them up a bit, and yeah, I think they're all running pretty good. I think I got pretty lucky on this batch of motors. Like 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, I finally got the impeller for this Mercury 5. So it's pretty easy to change it. There's just this little grommet right in here that you pop out to get access to the shift linkage. And then there's 2 bolts, I believe it's like a 13 and then a 10 mil holding this lower unit on. So we'll remove these. That grommet removed, there's a 10 mil bolt. So I like putting it in reverse. I like putting another forward or reverse. I mean, neutral's up here, forward's way up there. So reverse is the easiest for this one. So we're gonna loosen that, and then you want to make sure you remember too the like height of it, because this thing will slide. So, you know, there's like maybe like half an inch or less even sticking out below it. So just to remember all the gears when you put everything back together. Yeah, you can see that impeller now. Just those fins are just super brittle and all smashed. Yeah, I've worked on these motors a lot, so I kind of know what the stream should look like on these. And yeah, this one wasn't having the best stream. So yeah, here's a new impeller that finally arrived. Much better. I mean, these impellers are super small, so I mean, yeah, they just don't really even have that heavy of a stream to begin with. All right, got this new impeller on there on top of the drift key. So I'm gonna slide this housing on, and I'm gonna turn it clockwise, the drive shaft, while applying pressure just to make sure it seats right and make sure those fins are all facing the same direction this time. All right, so it's day 3 of this challenge. It's Wednesday morning. I always like to check too after doing the impeller that I hooked up all the linkages and everything properly. So yeah, it's in reverse now, so we should hear the prop locked, which it is. Put it to neutral, spins freely, and then forward. You can hear the prop is locked again. All right, well, here's this Merc 5 4-stroke running after that impeller change. It's definitely a visibly stronger stream. So these actually use the same impeller as the 2-strokes, but just from experience, I know that these 4-strokes typically have a pretty decent stream on them, while the 2-strokes have a little bit lighter stream. All right, I mentioned earlier I don't have a boat. I sold it recently because it had too many leaks, so I'm looking for one. But just to like fully test these motors, I mean, the best way is to just get a big bucket filled with water. And so I'm gonna run this for like 30 minutes or so, giving it like full throttle at times and just making sure it doesn't shut off, that everything's working the way it's supposed to. I already did that yesterday with the Honda and the Merc 25. So I'm just gonna do this now with this Merc 5 and then that Nissan 5, just to confirm that everything's running good and that it's not gonna shut off when I would take out the water. Give it full throttle and forward a bunch. Make sure it's not bogging down. All the gears working. Yeah, I mean, she's been running for at least 30 minutes now. I've shut her off once or twice. She fired right back up. Still peeing good water, still revving up. No hesitation on the throttle. So, I mean, I think this motor's done with. All right, just gonna run this Nissan now for like 30 minutes or so. Seems to be idling good and fired right up. Running for like 30 minutes or so. And she fires right up every time too. Yeah, so it's still day 3 of this challenge. It's about 12:30, so I'm only about like 2.5 days into this challenge. I was kind of generous giving myself 7 days to fix all these motors up, but You know, for the most part, I think they're running pretty damn good. You know, like I mentioned, I don't have a boat to test these, but I ran all these for 30 minutes. They all are idling great. No hesitation on the throttle. All the gears are shifting the way they're supposed to. So yeah, I mean, without testing them on the water, I think I'm done with this challenge. So I'm gonna be honest, this was kind of an easy batch of motors. Usually it's not this easy to fix them up. Clearly the previous owner took care of them, had them serviced. You know, I go into thinking I'm gonna at least at a minimum clean the car, probably, you know, have to search for parts that don't even exist anymore. And so the fact that 2 of these motors didn't even need a carb clean is pretty crazy. So you might be asking too, like, why I only changed the impeller on this Mercury 5 horsepower. So I've worked on all these motors in the past, like I mentioned. You know, for instance, I've probably worked on at least like 30 of these Hondas, probably a dozen of these guys, the 2-stroke and the 4-stroke version of these, and yeah, maybe like 5 or 10 of the Merc 25s. I've changed the impellers on all these, so I know what a good stream on the impeller looks like for these motors. So I mean, in my opinion, these impellers still had life to them, so I wasn't going to create more work for myself. You know, as you saw, this one I could tell had a little bit weaker stream than it should have, and sure enough, those fins were bent. So yeah, I'm just going to keep the impellers as is, and yeah, I think that completes this challenge. That's going to conclude this video. Hopefully this video was helpful to help at least a few people fix their outboard or give them the confidence to work on it. As always, please like and subscribe. See you on the next one. Thanks, guys.